I'm here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
The flying saucer mystery makes headlines.
Flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
Our government has lied about UFO information. We've also heard from scientists who say life elsewhere in the universe is virtually a certainty.
Area 51, that mysterious corner of the Nevada test site.
What's going on up there could be the most important event in history.
The U.S. Navy has finally acknowledged that videos appearing to show UFOs flying through the air are real.
It's not a helicopter. There's no propulsion. There's no wings. It rapidly accelerates and disappears. Like
this is technology that doesn't even exist.
UFOs? Any UFOs?
I've certainly asked about it.
And?
Can't tell you. Sorry.
Aliens exist and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's former space security chief.
In the last 48 hours, the public has learned of two stunning incidents captured on film by U.S. Navy carrier pilots earlier this year. One of the cases features a photo of a bizarre flying sphere and a black cube inside that is identical to dozens of other reports by Navy pilots. These strange objects have been shadowing East Coast naval ops since 2015. They sometimes maneuver in formation and have occasionally been reported achieving supersonic speeds. The other incident produced a stunning, detailed photograph of a massive triangular-shaped vehicle that emerged from the ocean and flew vertically straight up and out of sight just past a Navy F-18 operating off the U.S. Aircraft carrier.
Trending news this morning, and we're starting with this story that was in the Jerusalem Post that is now being picked up and broadcast all over the place. It's been trending on Twitter since it was posted, and we'll just get into it here. The story quotes the former head of Israel's space program that is supposedly saying that extraterrestrials exist. All right, he says not only are they real, but the U.S. government knows they are real and has an agreement to work with them. Here's what else is in this piece. The aliens are allowed to do experiments here as they research the universe, and American astronauts are doing the same in a secret underground base on Mars. So we are already on Mars collaborating with these aliens. The agreement, they say, has the U.S. government keeping quiet until humanity is ready for the truth. The Israeli official says President Trump was ready to reveal everything, but the so-called Galactic Federation of aliens prevented him in order to avoid mass hysteria. A lot of people digging into this now and wondering who this official is, who's stepping forward, but apparently this person was referenced in the New York Times about 10 years ago as yes, indeed working for the Israeli Space Agency, but this kind of coming out of nowhere, and obviously people having a lot of fun with it and making fun of it on social media, but it is trending, Galactic Federation. So if you see that, that's what this is about. To be continued. We'll see if President Trump or anybody's actually asked about this to get a quote on it or not, but either way.
Switch off your intelligence and drop your sanity, for this is the wildest story you will hear today. And listen to this carefully. Once upon a time, Donald Trump was ready to tell the world that aliens exist. Hell broke loose and the aliens intervened. They told the US president to resist. So why did Trump listen to the ET? Because the two have signed a treaty. And guess what? Israel was also party to this. Says who? Meet Haim Eshed. Reports claim he was once the head of Israel's space security program. The man recently gave an interview to an Israeli newspaper. What he said was out of the world, quite literally. He said aliens not only exist, but have also made contact with humanity. That should be great news. So where exactly are these aliens? Eshed told the newspaper that aliens are hiding among us. Sure they are. I could name a few, but never mind that. Why are these aliens hiding? Because humanity is not ready yet. I must remind you that we are not making any of this up. These are the words of a man who was the head of Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years. He's retired now and has decided to share a well-kept secret with the world. He says aliens do not want to start mass hysteria. So the kind creatures are waiting before they can come out in the open. They're waiting for humanity to evolve, to quote-unquote understand what space and spaceships are. Let me quote some more from Eshed's interview. There's an agreement between the US government and the aliens. They signed a contract with us to do experiments here. And they too are researching and trying to understand the whole fabric of the universe, and they want us as helpers.
What the hell?
Right out of the box. You've seen the news, you've wondered if we're about to live our very own space odyssey, you wish it was a giant vape that you could hit, but now we've got to tell the truth. Are aliens behind the monoliths?
What if I told you that all of this was already admitted to by previous United States presidents?
Maybe it's time for the aliens to just, take us away. Maybe we should all just be abducted by aliens and take it away somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's apparently possible. According to retired Israeli general and current professor Haim Eshed, the answer is yes. There are aliens, and they do exist. But this has been kept a secret because humanity isn't ready.
Right. Kept under wraps.
Speaking the other day with some publication.
Yeah, it was a newspaper in Jerusalem.
He served as the head of Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years. He's a 3-time recipient of the Israel Security Award. And he explained Israel and the U.S. have both been dealing with aliens for years.
Duh.
And he wanted to make sure that everybody knew he's not referring to immigrants as aliens. He clarified that he's talking about the existence of a Galactic Federation.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
He claims there is a signed contract with us to do experiments here. But
aliens are real and US President Donald Trump knows about it. Israel's former space security chief has made an unprecedented claim in an interview. 87-year-old Haim Eshed, who headed Israel's space security program for nearly 3 decades, has reportedly stressed that they are keeping aliens' existence a secret as humanity is not ready for them. There's an agreement between the US government and the aliens as they wish to research and understand the fabric of the universe, he further added. Not just that, Eshed reportedly went on to claim that Donald Trump stopped short of revealing their existence because the Galactic Federation insisted.
These iPhone photos taken by the pilots should be released to the public, as there are no sources and methods to protect, and the national security benefits of raising awareness regarding this issue vastly outweigh any conceivable benefit from concealing the information.
Because I thought I should check with him personally and hear his voice and what he had to say. And I had met him, so I knew who it was, and so I phoned him, and before I could even say, hello, how are you, what's the weather like, he said, every word is true and more. Those were his opening words. And he spent 20 minutes telling me the and more, within the limit of his oath. I guess it went as far as he could. And he said, and this was the most important thing he said during that period, was that there have been face-to-face meetings between United States officials and visitors from other star systems, period. No equivocation. And so with that assurance, and my own conviction based on what I already knew, I said, I'll go to the meeting, and at the meeting I said that UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying overhead, and that was it.
A former Israeli space security chief says that aliens exist. He claims there is a Galactic Federation, a group of advanced extraterrestrials, and that President Trump is aware of them.
We know about the Galactic Federation, and I don't know much about it, so I shouldn't talk about it, but they are concerned about what's going on in the world, and they have been working through individuals. They'll pick out a few individuals and visit them or talk to them telepathically or send information to them by channeling. I have a very close friend who was writing a second book right now with channeling from a species called the Basidas. Very few people have heard of it. They have a deal that they won't interfere. But I think that there's also a loophole if things get bad enough.
Today a headline caught my eye and I couldn't let it go by without putting something out there. Before all the other talking heads and pundits, I felt like as an astronomer who cares about these things, I should say something.
Can't talk about it, Ryan. Gotta say, look, actually, the Trump administration has been the best, so far at least, on UFOs. It was under their watch in 2017 that we actually began to learn about the UFO task force, some of the different videos that we had of the Tic Tac, and so much more. And we've learned progressively more. Now, look, I mean, I hope on his way out he declassifies everything.
Yeah, Harry Reid and John Podesta, both of whom had close working relationships with Obama, are both big into the UFO issue, and it's an issue that has always confused me as to why there's so much secrecy around it, because it feels like secrecy for secrecy's sake. Like, I get that if you want to protect the nuclear infrastructure, electrical grid infrastructure, you're in space or in the atmosphere, it really does feel like momentum for secrecy just for secrecy's sake. And maybe Obama talking about it with Colbert will remind Trump that, oh yeah, he could declassify some of this stuff on the way out, because if anybody would do it, it'd be
Very interesting new developments in the last couple of days on UFOs. And yes, because Crystal is out, I'm going to cover his UFOs as much as I want to. Not that she's against it. Not that she's against it. I'm just very into it. Okay, so this all started out on a website called The Debrief. Let's throw this up there. So The Debrief, very interesting news organization on science, tech, and aerospace, spoke with a lot of U.S. military and intelligence officials about the UAPTF. Now, I want everybody to take that in. The Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. Now, this task force, we've talked a lot about that here. That's what is working with Congress and the Intelligence Committee. Well, it turns out, according to The Debrief, they spoke with a bunch of officials about a new report that's been circulating around the Pentagon and within the intelligence community. Now, I'm going to read some direct quotes to everyone. Everyone the Debrief spoke with said that the most striking feature of a recent report was the inclusion of a new, extremely clear photograph of an unidentifiable triangular aircraft. Now, yesterday, the Debrief published these photos. So the first one, let's go back to that first one, and you can see clearly it was taken with a cell phone camera from an aircraft. This was an FA-18 fighter pilot, and it was captured somewhere over the ocean. I also want to explain here the behavior. So two officials that received that report said, quote, the photo was taken after the triangular craft emerged from the ocean and began to ascend straight upwards at a 90-degree angle. So Ryan, you've had the privilege of being here and having participated now in 2 UFO segments. Your reaction to this news, real bombshell stuff, man.
This is amazing stuff. And what's amazing to me too about it is my inability to believe it.